Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to my channel, and I just got back from seeing the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. I'm gonna make this very clear. I did not play any of the games. I did, however, watch the theory videos on the Game Theory channel from YouTube, so I know some of the lore. Like, I know about I know about the kids' ghosts being inside the animatronic robots. I've known about the purple guy, William Afton, like using the Springtrap suit to kill kids. Um, and there were just a few other things that I recognized from the movie that I know that the games had in them. There were a few things that I liked, a few things that I didn't. I do think overall it was a pretty good movie. Not the best horror movie or not even the best video game adaptation, but I think it was passable. But starting off with what I really liked, I liked the main character of Mike. Again, I haven't played the game, so I don't know if he's based on like what little character you play as in the actual games. His little sister Abby, who I originally thought was going to be his daughter. I thought that the actress for her did pretty good. Mike's whole backstory on like trying to find the person who kidnapped his little brother back when they were kids, and also him trying to fight to keep custody of his little sister. I thought was pretty good, and it tied into the overall plot concerning the animatronics at Freddy Fazbear's pretty well. I'm trying to think of what to say that's not really a spoiler. I will eventually go into spoilers because there's a few things that I don't really consider to be a spoiler with the movie, because there's just some stuff that people talked about that like most people assumed was going to happen in the film that did happen. But the story is pretty good. About like basically Mike is hopping from job to job, and eventually Matthew Lillard's character he contacts him to be the security guard for like Freddy Fazbear's, and basically from there he goes to the pizzeria. He just watches the security cameras, pretty much exactly like how the game is, except like you're actually seeing it through the lens of an actual character instead of one that you play as. And then throughout that time, like Mike is also having these dreams that takes him back to back when the last time he saw his little brother Garrett being kidnapped, and he's trying to find out who did it. And there's a really interesting plot element that they go with where about dream theory, where like if you like concentrate hard enough, then you're able to like actively participate in your dreams, and like you can pick up on things that you didn't before, where like say like if you're like walking down a street and all these faces go past you, if you concentrate hard enough, you can remember what those faces looked like. They really played around with that. It honestly kind of reminded me a bit of Inception, and a little bit later on those scenes, I think they pull a little bit from A Nightmare on Elm Street, but I think that was a pretty cool plot device that they used in the film. Pretty sure it never actually happened in the games, though. The animatronics themselves, it's kind of a slow burn to when they actually appear. When they do, for the most part, they're all right. I do remember seeing the original trailer, and I thought that it just looked goofy as hell that the animatronic, specifically Freddy, had like these glowing red eyes. I just thought that was like just too over the top. So luckily they mostly corrected that. So instead, whenever they get angry, their eyes just turn yellow, which I still think is a little bit corny, but it's better than the red eyes, to be honest. I do think that they look a little bit creepier, like with just the dead cartoonish eyes, or like the um, or like that one Freddy costume that I think was Golden Freddy, where one of the eyes is just like a dark blue, and I think the other eye is missing. That one actually looked pretty creepy. Um, and the Springtrap suit, which isn't a spoiler because it appeared in like other trailers and TV spots. That one, I think that one actually looks pretty scary. Probably the scariest in the film, especially because like the eyes are just white little pinpricks, and like if you played the games, then you know that that Springtrap actually has a living person inside of it. So that was always cool. Um, for a PG-13 film, this actually gets pretty brutal when they want to be. Like, there's a couple scenes where that look like they're straight out of Saw, where someone is strapped down in like these like mask that has these circular saw blades on the inside are coming towards the person, and like I immediately thought of Saw, and it probably helped the fact that like I just saw X just last month. Um, and then like that scene with the Springtrap suit and like those other suits with the spring lock mechanisms that were supposed to help a human fit inside the robotic outfit. The way that they showed them working, uh, it made me think back to the back to that one trap back in Saw 3 where those steel rods are poking out of that one cop's ribs, and then when the timer ran out, like the rib cage just pulled apart. It kind of reminded me of that, but like kind of the reverse of it, where instead of the rods pulling the rib cage out, like the rods are being inserted into the rib cage. Um, so that no, I thought that was cool. Um, and that's pretty much all I remember that I really liked. Um, the stuff that I was a little bit iffy on was first and foremost the cop character Vanessa. I felt like for the first half of the film, her acting just seemed off or just weird, and like that's just my take from it. It did get better later on in the film, but like for first few scenes, like it just seemed wooden to me. Um, I think that I do think that there's a couple scenes that probably should have been swapped around a bit. Like, um, there's this one moment where these kids like break into the pizzeria and they're just destroying the place, and eventually the animatronics come alive and kill all the kids. And this is where I say that like it can get brutal when it wants to, because like one of those kids gets completely like cut in half by the Freddy Fazbear suit, because the mouth apparently is strong enough to literally bite the kid in half from the waist. But anyway, I feel like that scene should have come in later, because pretty much the scene that immediately comes after it, Mike and Abby go to the pizzeria, and the animatronics come alive. Vanessa is there, and they basically all throw like a party, and they create this one of those like blanket forts kind of with the chairs and the tables and everything, and like you see like the human characters having fun with the animatronics, and And the whole time I just thought, well, no, I was just thinking like, well, we just saw these animatronics kill some kids, and this just seems just so goofy to me. And I honestly feel like, if that scene with the makeshift fort happened before the animatronics killed the kids that broke in, I felt like it would have flowed much nicer, because the way that they shot it just seems so jarring to me. Um, Moving on, spoilers at the end. Even though I don't consider them, spoilers. Um, yes, a lot of people's assumptions that Matthew Lillard was going to be William Afton, aka the Purple Guy, aka Springtrap, that was all true, and even I assumed that, because like, you got Matthew Lillard in a horror movie. Not only are you not going to have him be just a small cameo, you're most likely also going to make him the villain, because this isn't Scooby-Doo, where he's not playing Shaggy. The last really big horror movie that I remember him from is Scream, where he was one of the villains. And I know that's a weird leap in logic, but it paid off for me. I am gonna say though, like, going back to what I said earlier about the Springtrap suit. When Springtrap does eventually appear, although I do think it's a little bit weird that he basically appears out of nowhere. I mean, Vanessa mentioned a little bit that, like, oh, he knows that you're looking for your son's kidnapper, so, like, he'll be coming for you. But, like, there's never really any indication that he was going to show up at all. And then just out of nowhere, he just appears in the climax. So I thought that was weird. But it is sort of made up, it sort of makes up for the fact that, like, Springtrap, like I said, is the scariest animatronic in the movie. And I think that's in part because of the white pinprick eyes that he has. Because, like, when he actually does appear and he's basically, like, beating the crap out of Mike, there's some scenes where he actually looks terrifying. However, the way that they defeat him, I feel like is also goofy. And it kind of reminds me a little bit of It Chapter 2. It's not the same way, of course, because in It Chapter 2, like, the Losers Club literally bullied Pennywise to death. Like, that's what they did. So obviously it's not the same thing, but the way that they defeat William Afton, I get what they're trying to do, and it probably sounded great on paper, but putting it to the screen just sounds too weird. And I was gonna save this for the very end, but the way that they defeat William Afton is Abby literally rips up a picture of the Springtrap Yellow Rabbit suit, like, holding hands with the kids. She rips off the wall, rips it up, and then colors in a new picture of Springtrap killing the kids. And that's what causes the kids inside the suits to turn on him. Like I said, I understand what they were trying to get at about how they don't remember that William Afton was the one that killed them, and by coloring in that new picture, then they remembered. I get what they're trying to go for, but the fact they did it in that way, to me, just was just weird. But that's just me. Aside from that, the rest of the film was pretty good. I do kind of wish that they used the jingle that goes like da na 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 da 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 da. I kind of wish that they used that more than just during the credits. especially since like they use the music during all the trailers. Why didn't they use that all during the actual film, right? Except for the end credits, which for the credits, they actually they played this one fan song that was made on YouTube, which just goes to show that that despite the faults that I mentioned, this film was made for the fans, which is great. But oh man, but again, wish they used the main theme for during the actual scenes in the movie. Oh, and at the very beginning, going back to what I said about the acting for Vanessa, there's this one security guard that gets killed at the very beginning with that saw death trap that I mentioned, where this mask with circular blades on the inside just start coming towards him while he's locked in a chair. Which, by the way, you end up seeing the results of that later on in the film, and like it looks pretty gnarly. Again, for a PG-13 film, like it's brutal when it wants to be. But the security guard, I feel like his acting is, I want to say like underperforming or whatever it is, but like all he does is scream, and his screams just sound so over the top. Like that whole phrase, like you scream like a girl, that's literally what he sounds like whenever he opens his mouth and like sound comes out of it. But aside from that little nitpick, there's really nothing else to talk about about this film. Overall, it's pretty great. And I mean, I enjoyed it, and that's coming from someone who didn't play any of the games, but did like the whole stories and the lore. And before I wrap this up, I am going to add in these two nitpicks that weren't really about the film, but about like the movie theater that I went to as a whole. And I'm pretty sure this goes for just movie theaters in general at this point. I don't understand why they show previews for 20 minutes. Like, I get it that some people are gonna be late or anything, but like, why not just do it for like 5 or 10 minutes, right? Why wait a full 20 minutes after the movie is supposed to play when it's scheduled, and then just play after all that time? And then secondly, this goes out to all the moviegoers that still go to the theater. Why in God's name does anyone think it's a good idea to talk during a movie? Like there were these two people who were sitting a couple chairs down from me, and I could hear pretty much everything they were saying, like whispering, just talking. They kept telling like the characters in the movie what to do. Like, no, don't go through there. Like, no, don't trust Freddy. Don't go with him. Don't go into the pizzeria. Shut up. Like, seriously. When you go to a movie theater and sit in a darkened room to watch a movie with a dozen other people that you don't know, why do you think that it's time to chatter? I don't get it. I don't. Like, I tolerated that during the previews because, like, let's be honest, that's not when the movie's starting, so I don't care what people do. But when the movie was actually starting and they didn't stop talking, and they were constantly whispering like little teenagers, which honestly is probably what they were, it bugged the hell out of me. And I wasn't the only one, because eventually, like I think about halfway through the film, like they kept on talking and they were actually getting louder. Someone, I think a row or two in front of me, actually yelled at them to shut the fuck up, and they still wouldn't. So a few minutes later, when they got loud enough, I finally spoke up, told them to be quiet, and they finally did. Like, it's crap like that honestly makes people not want to go to the theater anymore because moviegoers these days, especially little kids, just got no respect for other people just wanting to see the goddamn film. But anyway, that mini rant is over. Back to the movie itself. Like, the movie was great. It opens the door for a sequel because, like, I mean, it's like I kind of said that some of the scenes that happen in the game happen in the movie, like that scene where the Springtrap suit like locks in and kills William Afton. That sort of happens, but it still opens the door for a sequel if they want to pursue that. But overall, film was pretty good. It's a decent enough horror film, and I'd say it's a pretty good video game adaptation as well. But again, that's coming from someone who hasn't played the games, who has only seen YouTube videos. But I do think that people who have played the games will actually enjoy it more than I did. So that's it for this review, and technically, because this is Thursday and tomorrow is Friday, I should have a video about the different cuts of the Army of Darkness film slated for tomorrow, and this one is long overdue. Like, I honestly meant to make this video around the same time that I was doing that whole Road to Rise series in preparation for Evil Dead Rise coming out, but it never happened, so better late than never, I guess, and at least I'm doing it during the Halloween month, so I'll see you guys in that one, and you guys have a great evening.